Tucked deep underground inside secretive caverns is India's insurance policy against energy doom. Strategic Petroleum Reserves. Their story is more thrilling than you may think. Strategic Petroleum Reserves, or SPRs, are massive government-held stockpiles of crude oil, untouched until crisis falls. Let's set off on a journey beneath the surface of India's energy security. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. So what makes SPRs so special? Well, unlike the oil that refineries use every day, SPRs are shelved for emergencies, wars, supply choke points, market meltdowns. The idea is simple. When the world stops running, the nation doesn't. That's peace of mind in barrels.
We are importing nearly 75 to 80%. We have dependencies on imports, and therefore the import is very, very high and indigenous production is low. Government is taking steps to also increase indigenous production, but at the same time there is increase in demand also. So, so these dependence on imports will always remain big way. And India is the third largest country in terms of, this requirement, crude oil, So this is essential needed, so we'll have to go forward,
For India, world's third biggest oil consumer and importer, SPRs aren't just a nice to have, they're a must. With 85% of our oil shipped in from distant lands, a single global jolt could leave tankers stranded, fuel pumps dry, and factories paralyzed. SPRs provide a crucial lifeline. Let's rewind to the 1970s. Two crises struck, both triggered by turmoil in West Asia. Suddenly, the world realized oil isn't just fuel, it's power. Interrupt the flow, and even mighty nations stumble. In response, countries flipped from managing plenty to managing scarcity. By 1974, the International Energy Agency, or IEA, was born. Member countries, mostly the rich ones, pledged to stash away oil for at least 90 days of imports, enough to handle shocks and avoid economic disaster. For India, still industrializing and dependent on imports, SPRs offered even more. Bargaining chips in international negotiations, a chance to buy cheap and sell dear, and a badge showing the world we're ready. In 2021, when major nations took the bold step of releasing SPR oil to cool prices, India joined in, chipping in 5 million barrels. SPRs became tools of both diplomacy and defense. India's serious tryst with SPRs began in the year 2004, with Indian Strategic Petroleum Reserves Limited, or ISPRL, created to run the show. Ownership shifted into government hands, underlining just how important this was. Today, three giant underground vaults anchor India's energy security. Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, 1.33 million tons. Mangaluru in Karnataka, 1.5 million tons. And the behemoth at Padur, also in Karnataka, stashing 2.5 million tons. That's enough for just under 10 days of the nation's oil needs. All of this comes at a price. Costs ballooned from 24 billion to 41 billion rupees. Not surprising when you're drilling rock, waterproofing caves, and installing military-grade security systems. But can you put a price on peace of mind? The story doesn't stop there. In 2021, the government greenlit Phase 2. More tanks, more oil, more security.
फेज़ 1 जो तैयार हुआ ये 10 दिन के लिए लगभग कैटर करता है. फेज़ 2 जो 6.5 मिलियन टन हम करेंगे आगे, वो 12 दिन के लिए करेगा. सो दोनों मिला के 22 दिन हो गया. और हमारा इंडस्ट्री स्टॉक होता है वो 65 दिन का है. So all put together, we are almost 87 days, which is quite close to the 90-day mandate of IEA.
Chandikol in Odisha, 4 million tons, and more capacity in Padur. These sites, still under construction, will boost reserves to cover 21 days, a major leap but still a way to go. Ambitions running high. Studies are afoot for massive new caverns in Rajasthan, more at Mangaluru and Bina in Madhya Pradesh. The dream is matching IEA countries, 90 days cover. But building underground bunkers isn't quick. Each site needs years of surveys, drills, and careful engineering.
लंबे समय तक देश में एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी बने रहे, हम कई प्रकार की इनिशिएटिव ले रहे हैं। स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी बनाना उसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण कदम है। बड़ी सफलता के साथ स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी की फेज 1 जो लगभग 5.33 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन की स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी और 10 दिन की स्टोरेज फैसिलिटी कर पा रहे, उसकी सफलता के साथ पूरा हुआ है। अभी इसको जोड़ के हम आने वाले 3-4 साल में देश की ताकत को और बढ़ाएंगे।
How do we stack up against the world's big oil players? The United States leads with staggering capacity, over 700 million barrels, nestled inside salt caverns beneath Texas and Louisiana. The US isn't shy about flexing its muscles. When oil prices bite or political goals align, they open the spigots. Sometimes to influence markets, sometimes to calm their own people, sometimes to send a message to other nations.
We have the energy way down. Energy brought the groceries down, if you want to know the truth. And, so we think we're going to get it lower, and we're going to fill up the it's called the Strategic National Reserves. I had it topped out, and this guy would use them every time before the election. He'd use them whenever they had an election. It was artificial. But believe it or not, as big as that are tens of hundreds of millions of barrels of oil, all filled up at low prices. But it was really meant for wars, and it wasn't meant for keeping your prices down during a holiday so that somebody could get elected. But they used it, and they didn't bring it. The only mistake you made, they didn't bring it a little down. They brought it right down to the bottom. The thing is practically empty. They never filled it up. They never spent 10 cents in filling it up. And we'll do that. When the market is right, we'll fill it up. I want to fill it up when the market's right.
China is hungry. With its own strategic reserves now surpassing 500 million barrels, some bought at bargain prices from Russia. Their plan? Eventually, 90 days worth of imports matching the West. Japan, though, is the stockpiling champion, over 130 days cover. With their island status, having oil in hand is truly a matter of national survival. South Korea, too, boasts deep reserves, peaking above 240 days at times. In Europe, the number changes by country. Germany leads there. France prefers jet fuel. The UK is steady around 67 days. Even Switzerland plans for almost 5 months of consumption. Closer to home, India's neighbors also play the reserve game. China's reserves don't just dwarf India's, but offer a huge strategic edge, enough to keep their industries and armies running for almost 2 months without a drop coming in. Their strategy is multi-layered. Pipelines from Russia and Central Asia, tankers landing at special ports, even pipelines threading through Myanmar. It's more than reserves, it's insurance from all angles. Pakistan, on the other hand, trails far behind. Barely a month's worth in hand, and their plans for expansion are just that, plans on paper, yet to break ground. History has lessons though. In 1971, attacks cut them off from oil at Karachi, a blow still studied by their strategists. To sum up, India's current 9.5 days of reserves aren't enough if the region hits trouble, not with big energy-hungry economies nearby. And the stakes set sky high, we need more. Let's talk numbers. India uses around 5 million barrels of oil per day, importing nearly 85% of it. The IEA's 90-day target means holding over 450 million barrels, but our present target is just a quarter of that. Even planned expansions will only bring us to about 27 days cover. So why not just build more? The answer: money and time. Constructing deep, safe underground storage is costly and can take up to 6 years or more per site. The bill: for full security runs to hundreds of billions of rupees. Expansion to 90 days could take us past 2035 unless something speeds up. It's not just coming up with the investment. Running these facilities is expensive. Security, maintenance, oil quality checks, costs add up quickly. Not just how much, but where. Right now, all major SPR sites are clustered in India's south and east near coastlines. Great for quick oil unloading, but risky if disaster, blockade, or attack were to strike. Hence the plan for Rajasthan: salt caverns deep inland, away from the coasts and shipping lanes, add a new layer of security. If the ports are closed or seas become hostile, oil stored inland is far less vulnerable. Future sites should spread out: west to cover Gujarat's refineries, north for the big markets. It's not just about storing oil, it's about making sure you can reach every corner of India, come what may. Underground caverns are safest, both from military strikes and from Mother Nature. Salt caverns take longer and need the right geography, but their protection is second to none. But what if India could store oil abroad? Enter the Trincomalee oil tank farm, Sri Lanka. Built in World War II, now back in the game, thanks to a three-way deal between India, Sri Lanka, and the UAE. 99 tanks, each holding 12,000 kiloliters, make up a strategic hub right along vital shipping lanes. India currently uses a fraction. The rest is primed for expansion. The UAE's involvement means investment and expertise, while strengthening crucial energy ties for India. Not to forget, with China also investing billions in Sri Lankan oil infrastructure, this is a diplomatic chess match as much as an energy project. But this strategy isn't without risks. Turbulent politics in host countries can threaten access right when we need it most. The answer? Structured government deals, clear legal rights, and sticking to partnerships that align with India's long-term interests. Traditionally, SPR sat quietly underground, waiting for doomsday. But what if they could turn a profit as well? India is moving towards letting private players manage SPRs, lease out space, and trade oil. In the good times, they use reserves to buy low and sell high, like China did, pocketing healthy gains after buying cheap Russian oil, then selling when prices soared. Deals with companies like Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, leasing them space while retaining first rights in a crisis, turn an expensive security task into a business opportunity. The Padur expansion, for instance, will be privately managed with the government holding key controls. This brings in efficiency, expertise, and investment from the private sector, freeing up taxpayer money. But governments must keep a tight grip to make sure when things go south that oil is available as planned. There's no denying building and keeping up SPRs costs a bundle. Construction bill run into tens of billions, with more on the way if new sites go ahead. Running costs alone topped ₹1 billion in recent years. The biggest hidden cost, though, opportunity. Every barrel in storage is money tied up, not earning returns elsewhere. But compare this with the economic wreckage from a major oil cutoff, price spikes, factory shutdowns, growth stalling, inflation. It's not a risk worth taking. Strategic reserves are a form of insurance. You pay up, hoping never to claim. But if you must, it's worth every rupee. Plus, with clever trading, some of the cost can be offset. Selling at the right time, leasing to foreign partners, and running efficient facilities all help balance the books. What's next for India's SPR program? The immediate priority: speed up the projects already underway, finish the expansion, and spread storage sites geographically. Partnerships, both with private players and overseas allies, will be key. The future is hybrid: state and private, domestic and overseas, physical barrels and digital trading. Smarter tech will keep storage secure, automate operations, and predict the best moments to buy or sell. And while the world shifts towards renewables, oil will still power our vehicles, industries, and economies for decades. Strategic reserves won't lose relevance anytime soon. India's strategic petroleum reserves are more than cavernous tanks of oil. They're a shield, a bargaining chip, and soon a potential profit center. In a turbulent world filled with blockades and blackouts, they're India's line of last defense. The road ahead demands vision, investment, technical wizardry, and strong alliances. Ensuring energy security isn't just an economic task, it's a strategic quest at the heart of national strength. The next time you fill your tank, remember, deep beneath your feet and across distant shores, there's a silent sentry standing guard, keeping India moving, no matter what storms the world brings. Thank you for watching Statecraft.